What's up, YouTube? So today we're taking a look at C3, which is one of the newer C-like languages that's come out. And I didn't know about this until I got some comments on on one of my previous videos, which was a C Odin-Zig comparison video. People wanted more languages, and C3 was one that came up a lot, especially from one particular superfan. Keep doing what you're doing. It's really funny to watch, to read your comments. But so C3, what it basically tries to do is take C, the like 60-year-old language at this point, that has a lot of rough edges, and it has a lot of it's rusting in places. No pun intended. This is not a Rust video. It is showing its age in particular ways, and C3 wants to fix a lot of those without producing an entirely new language like Odin or Zig or Go or what are these other languages. And so that's what this project, or that's what this video is about. And so the project that I used to kind of play around with C3 is the same project I used for that comparison video, which is basically like let's go from 0 to Raylib. Like, how fast can we go, or well, how easily can we go from installing the language to having a very basic Raylib like project that doesn't do a whole lot, but works and like has all of the stuff kind of like working together. So that's what this is. So please enjoy. So to start off, anytime I start playing around with a new language, NeoVim is my editor of choice. And so I always try to find a Mason and tree sitter support for this language. And there is indeed a Mason LSP for C3 and a tree sitter installation for C3. The problem is, whenever I tried it, this is what happened. I don't have any syntax highlighting. I have, no like IntelliSense kind of awareness of what these things are in the language. And so I kind of gave up on using NeoVim. So then instead what I did was I used Zed, which is, another editor. It's built in Rust. It's really fast. It's a nice editor. And the C3 extension for C3 or for Zed, sorry, does indeed give you it gives you a lot of the stuff, right? So like if I wanted to do something with game data, then it knows that it is of type game data, and it has all of these fields on it and stuff. And so that is this was my kind of like my workspace for this project. So let's see, let's kind of go through it. So let's just take a look at the code real fast. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that's like different. Like C doesn't have modules. C doesn't have this kind of, C imports don't look like this. Functions are not prefixed or are not denoted by the FN keyword. Let's see, I don't think there's a string capital type in C. But for the most part, everything kind of looks as you would expect. Like, you RL, or if you want to access something from a different module, then you do, the module name and then double colons, and that's the scope resolution operator. If you want to, if you want to like create a struct, then it's, you just create it and then start assigning stuff on its fields. Pretty much familiar for anyone who has used a lot of C. The for loops look the same. Basically all of it, the syntax just looks like C, with some like small differences. And there are a few like extra things. So there's a for each, for example, which lets you do kind of like range-based looping over loopable things, enumerable things. And let's see. This is pretty nice, is that you don't have to do, this kind of like weird stuff with like structs. You just have this and it is fine. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, it looks basically like C. And, that's a that's a subjective, it's an opinion on if you think that's a good thing or not. I think it's a pretty nice thing. But yeah, so that's what the code basically looks like. It's very similar to the same code as I used in the C version of the previous comparison example. And so just to like kind of go through some of my like extended thoughts. So let's see. So yes, so C3 has a pretty cool repository called C3 Lang Vendor, and what this lets you do is if you have if you want to get like some hello. Okay, that's the help message. Let me change the thing here a little bit. Yeah, so if you want to like get something such as Raylib, which I have in this project, and you can see that I have it in here from this. If you want to get this library, then since it exists in that vendor repository, you can just do C3C vendor fetch. C3C is the command line utility for C3, by the way. So you use it to run and test and do all that stuff. Yeah, if you want to get Raylib version 5.5, then you just do this command and you have Raylib 5.5 in your project, and then you can import it like this. You may notice that this is not import Raylib 5.5, even though that was the command, and I'll get to that in a bit. But for the most part, it's like a pretty simple, like it's a simple like vendor package manager kind of thing. Similar to like how Odin has it kind of all prepackaged with the language, but a little bit more, how to say, like externalized, I guess. Yeah, and one minor note: the module name does not the module name that you import or that you use to fetch the vendor library does not always match what you need to import in your code, and this is not really documented. The name to import this is, or the name that you need to import is the inside of, if we just open up this guy. So we have our libraries, and then we have like raylib55.c3l. So you need to go to the raylib.c3i and then find this command, this declaration of the module, and this is what you would actually import. So that's just a very minor annoyance, but for the most part, it's like pretty nice. And then, as I said before, it's very nice that the syntax is familiar and super C-like with a little bit of juice. Some of that juice is that we have like for each. We don't need forward declarations. You can just like, you don't have to be like void thing just because you use something later, or you use something in your main function that's declared, that makes sense to declare later, to implement later down in the function, in the file, whatever. You don't need any of that. Struct declarations don't really have any boilerplate. It's just struct name, your fields, and then that's it. You don't have to do any weird stuff with it. You have modules, you have defer if you need to like make sure that you clear memory and stuff. So it's really nice. It's a nice kind of evolution, I think, of C that doesn't really like evolve it, in kind of like, I don't know. It's a nice taking off the rough edges and giving it a nice coat of paint. That said, the tooling was not that great in either NeoVim or Zed. It's a lot better in Zed. But for NeoVim, like basically nothing worked, which is probably a me problem, but I only have so much time to spend on these things and it wasn't documented. So like, like what am I supposed to do? And then, even within the Raylib, thing, like for some reason it doesn't complete functions, even though it completes like, these things. I think, yeah, okay. So the only thing that it completes, which could be a configuration thing, I don't know, but the only thing that it completes is the is like fields that are inside of that module itself. It doesn't autocomplete functions or enums or anything like that, which is really annoying. And it means that you have to like keep the C3 Raylib module open just to like check how they did certain bindings and translations. And one part of that is that all of the C3 functions start with a lowercase letter, which is not how it's done in any of the other bindings, which is really annoying. So, there's that. But like it is nice that you get syntax highlighting. You get some amount of completions and LSP functionality with the Z extension. But it has its own rough edges and its own like kind of don't look behind the curtain kind of thing. But yeah, so overall, I think it's really cool. I'm glad that it exists. I would really like to see the tooling and such improve before I would suggest using it for any projects soon. I'm probably not going to be using it for anything soon myself because I guess because right now I'm mostly working on an Odin game, and like web apps and stuff, and I try to use Elixir for most of my web projects. So not gonna try and turn C3 into a web language. And just to like make sure that it like runs and stuff, this is what it looks like, just doing its thing. Not too nothing too crazy. I still don't understand like how the peak FPS is so much higher on Linux than it was on Windows, but that's a whatever thing. But yeah, so that's where we are with C3. These are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Yeah, so I think that's it for C3. Again, I think it's really cool. I'm glad it exists. Thank you, to everyone who mentioned it in the comments of my past couple of videos. I did enjoy, like doing this implementation. Again, it's like basically C with a little bit of extra juice, and so it wasn't really like hard or anything. So it was a nice experience. I would like to see it kind of mature a little bit more before I start trying to use it for other things, and before I would like recommend using it for any particular projects. But that said, it's cool. It's really cool. It's like C, but newer, and that's pretty cool. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have yourself a good day, month, year, and everything else.